So the last video of mine that did moderately well received 2 comments from a user, one of which was, "There's a bunch of incels in the comments," and I thought, not on my watch, and I deleted it. I do short essays with research, empathy, and curiosity. And I'm a real person. You're a real person. Will you tie a cord between us by subscribing? You'll probably learn something new, and I will be your friend. Yeah, reading the term made me remember how I despise bullies. I would hope we were past this. The word just feels so 2015. Yet, many people still operate like this. Don't like what this person says? Incel. A deranged random way to try and bully someone. You know what would be funny? Doing a large-scale survey among men, how many of them were called an incel at least once in their life? I bet it would be the vast majority of men who dare venture out of their echo chambers on the internet. The term was coined in 1997 by a woman, Alana, for people to bond over the fact that the way they are is just not good enough for society. It was originally spelled like this, and I have to admit, it looks very Roman, Latin. I unironically like it. But it's still a fairly nebulous concept, in my opinion. One man's incel is another man's dream. Then, because like any other group, it had its loud, deranged members, and the word got a hateful connotation. And now you get to read conversations around the internet to the effect of, "How can you not get along with us? It's your fault, and you're an incel." Sure, not everyone does that, but the stereotypes exist there for a reason. After someone had obstacles in their life, it is extremely hard to catch up, and some percentage of people are just left behind. Suck it up, deal with it. Well, what if they tried? I believe you when you say you tried to fix things. I believe you when you say you tried everything. Do people have any goals or dreams left in regards to meeting other people? I think at this point what we are going for is one moment of simple happiness, one moment of belonging. And I don't think the term incel has any meaning now anyway. I know it's just used against men with dissenting opinions, and I bet those men are decent people in real life with moderate to bad experiences with women, like most men are, and most women. Yet they get called incels because reasons. Someone is trolling? It's an incel. Hey people, this conversation is not that deep. What did you say, incel? You guys here are wrong, and you're an incel. What I think the most fucked up part about all of this is this term was originally used not just for people like actual incels, but for people who have not been in a relationship for a while and for people who simply feel lonely. So when you really think about it, these people are mocking others for their loneliness. I don't think that even qualifies as bullying. We need a new term. How can some people think it can never happen to them? Could you imagine the level of security or ignorance to think you can never become lonely? And I don't think people yet realize what hell we have unleashed upon us with this rat race, because this term, incel, is going to apply to more and more people with each passing year. The actual incels were just left behind by society first. What's the reality of the situation? Is it actually getting worse? The lonely people graph, if you will, seems to follow a bit of a U-shape, with the dip meaning the lowest number of people being unmarried in the 60s and 70s. In the early 1900s, the unmarried percentage was about 40%, then it dipped to 30%, and we are now at 50%. But there is no data from back in the day on cohabiting individuals, meaning people living together just not married, because that question was not even considered up until a few decades ago. But the reversal is obvious, and I don't think we're done. In 2021, 18% of women had reported having had no sex in the past year, as compared to 10% of men. That's a gigantic chunk of society to ostracize. And did each and every one of those individuals just become unattractive all of a sudden? No, and looks are not the only thing that matters in society's acceptance. I think very, very few people are actually ugly. It is actually about being at peace with your flesh prison and taking care of yourself as much as you can. And I know what I'm talking about. Due to gigantic trauma, up until very recently, I basically barely looked at myself as a human. It's not that I felt like I don't compare to the people in the magazines or TV ads. No, I looked at ordinary people around me, and for some reason, my flesh prison felt fundamentally inadequate and not similar to theirs in any good way. It got much better. I'm at peace with myself now. But in a way, this situation, a part of it always stays with you. As a human, not preaching any higher purpose ideology to another human, I wish I could tell you to just have hope, but I also know that at a certain point, it is physically impossible to have hope, not just mentally, and whatever helps you get through the day, including Andrew Tate, because I believe you when you say nothing else worked. Or you could become at peace with your situation. Is it voluntary or involuntary? Neither, it just is. But guess what? There is nothing wrong with being alone. And the term really belongs in the trash because sooner or later, most people will be like,
I'm Spartacus!
I'm Spartacus!
I'm Spartacus! I'm Spartacus!